Hey guys, it's Majombo.
This will be a champion guide to Graves, explaining some matchups and how to play him in general, as well as some teamfighting tips and helpful tricks. A typical Graves rune page will give him extra attack damage to make CSing easier, as well as armor to deal with harass from auto-attacking opponents, and some lifesteal to give him sustain. Magic resist per level glyphs, attack damage marks, lifesteal quints, and armor seals. If you are against a more close range AD carry that you can trade skills with, and may want some extra mana regen, you can swap out some magic resist glyphs for some mana regen. Another reason you might want to spam your skills are in case the enemy has a weak early game jungler like Malphite or Warwick. You can push the lane hard with Buckshot and force the enemy bot lane to CS under tower. This makes it much harder for the enemy AD carry to CS under tower while you are harassing them. 21 in the offense tree and 9 in the defense tree will give you a small increase in all of the important stats you need on an AD carry, like attack damage, armor pen, and attack speed. Doran's Blade, 1 health pot, and a yellow trinket will be your starting items. A lot of Graves' damage early to mid game comes from his spells. Because of this, rushing a Bloodthirster for the extra attack damage will make his spells do a lot more. When Graves hits full stacks on Bloodthirster, his burst combo goes through the roof. Next, you want to pick up a Static Shiv and Berserker Greaves. Following that will be your Last Whisper, so you can cut through enemies' armor and the resistances. If you want, you can complete the Last Whisper before your Avarice Blade from your Static Shiv for an earlier power spike, but it's not necessary. An Infinity Edge will work nicely with your Static Shiv, making your crits do extra damage. And lastly, because Graves is such a close range AD carry, he's much more vulnerable. You should most commonly buy a defensive item like Banshee's Veil or Randuin's Omen, depending on if you're facing a more AD enemy team or at magic damage. Quicksilver Sash is also a good option, but if your support has a Mikael's Crucible, you may not need it. You should probably communicate with your support and see if they're willing to use the Mikael's Crucible on someone else if you already have a Quicksilver Sash. A fun last item option that can be viable in some cases is the Runaan's Hurricane. This is due to your E ability being refreshed almost instantly in a teamfight because of the multi-hits from Runaan's. This can be used if you're dealing with multiple melee enemies that are targeting you in teamfights, for example Olaf or Shyvana. Graves has one of the lowest ranges out of all the marksmans. This makes his matchups against longer ranged opponents like Caitlyn, Ashe, Varus, or Jinx when she's in rocket form quite hard to deal with in a lane. Graves' passive, however, gives some extra armor and pretty much can make any other AD carry a good matchup for him, most notably champions like Vayne and Ezreal and Sivir. Generally with Graves you will look to trade damage with the enemy AD carry using your Buckshot. The closer you are, the more damage your Buckshot will do because it spreads 3 shots outward. You don't need to hit all 3 of the shots up from your Buckshot to successfully harass the enemy though. Graves is usually strongest when he's played with a support that can CC, like Taric or Leona, for example. Once they land their CC, you can dash in with E and Buckshot them for max damage. The enemy AD carry will be forced to use their escape spell if hit by this combo. Buckshot is also a great tool for CSing, so don't be afraid to spend some mana to secure a couple last hits here and there, especially when under tower. Smokescreen can be used as a defensive spell to escape or help a teammate out of a bad situation, like when you're getting ganked. You must punish your enemies if they pick incorrectly against Graves. Graves has a lot of duel potential with his passive armor and magic resistance, so you must trade with Buckshot occasionally. Trade constantly with your Buckshot, followed by an auto attack while you're at full stacks of True Grit. If you are zoning your enemies out, be careful of hitting creeps with your Buckshot when harassing, since it will start to push the lane. You want to keep the lane close to your tower and zone enemies out of EXP range and last hits. Signal your support to stun and dash in and burst combo them. When you have your BT, you can 1v1 almost any AD carry using your dash to dodge their skill shots, so man up and stand your ground. You will lifesteal a ton and dish out a lot of damage. If you see a squishy champ, don't be hesitant to blow their brains out with your full REQ combo. When dealing with a tough lane, you will just have to respect them, a lot more than you actually want to. Let the lane fall back to your tower and CS as safe as you can, with the tower protecting you from any dives. These long-range champs will auto-attack you, and unless you're fully going to commit to and engage with your support, you'll never win the trade. It is all about patience when you're dealing with a hard lane. Make sure you have wards for lane bushes, because without vision of your bushes you will be zoned out by the enemy support, and makes the lane even harder. Yellow trinkets work nice here. No AD carry is safe from your burst combo, so with a nice stun set up from your jungler or support, you can take them out. Just be patient and wait for the right time to burst them. A very fun and neat trick I like to do with Graves uses flash to completely catch anyone off guard and unload your entire combo within 1 second. By R flash queuing directly in front of your opponent, you will be able to get your maximum damage combo off. There is no way to react unless your opponent is a supercomputer. Using this combo takes high level judgment of your damage. Because you're giving up your flash spell, you better make it worth the cooldown. I will also use this combo on an enemy support, for example if I think I'm not going to escape a gank. When you teamfight with Graves, you'll be primarily kiting targets, aiming to take you down. Try and use your burst combo in combination with your team's CCs to quickly take down one target, and then start kiting nearby enemies. Later in the game, Graves will have a decent amount of attack speed. This will help get more dashes off, so keep an eye on your CDR timer on your dash and know when it's going to be up. Keep mobile so that your static shiv will proc, and use Q in between auto attacks to be efficient. Think of smokescreen as a slow, and use it to help kite and slow enemies trying to catch you. Never give up. Keep fighting, using your lifesteal and your summoner spells to keep you alive when your opponents expect you to die. Clean up the teamfight and push to win.